So could this new MacBook Neo be the perfect machine for a coach? Stay tuned and let's find out. So when Apple announced this new MacBook Neo a few weeks back, some people actually surprised by it because they had no idea that a new Mac was coming out, and it was panned by a lot of people. They said, "Oh my God, it's only got 8 gig of RAM. It's only got 256 storage or 512. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles." But I mean, that's kind of the point. But in some ways, that's kind of the point, because for a lot of coaches, there is no need to spend a whole lot of money on features that frankly you're not going to use. So let's find out if this has what it takes to do everything a coach needs at a great price. So let's start talking about price. So this MacBook Neo, it comes in a couple different options. It's got, they're all 13-inch. You can get like a million different colors, not a million, you get 4 different colors: yellow, blue, red, pinkish, and then the silver, which I got. They come with 8 gigs of memory. They all come with 8 gigs of memory. And you have a choice between 256 storage, 256 gigs, or if you want the Touch ID, which is the fingerprint scanner, that one comes with 512 gigs. The prices are $599 US for the base model, and for the 512 gigs with the Touch ID, it's $699. And again, all the people are like, "Oh yeah, well, it's only got 8 gigs of RAM. No one, you can't do anything." Well, this is one of the things I've known about having a Mac. A Mac, even before its new architecture, runs really well on less memory, because you don't have to run you don't have to run antivirus, you don't have a bunch of junk programs on there. It just requires less. But now with the new Mac, the Apple Silicon architecture, the memory actually works better together with the processor. And so I have had Macs that have been 5-6 years old that work just great. And so for all the haters out there that love your Windows, which is totally fine, I like Windows too, but it's just a different beast. I saw one guy even say, "Whoa, my machine has 32 gigs of RAM." And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I don't know most coaches need that kind of machine. So let's open this baby up. All right, it's got our normal Mac kind of stuff here, so that they know that it's never been opened before. All right. Oh, look at this. I think that this is kind of a throwback to the original, like the iBooks that were colored, or the iMacs that were colored. It's right here. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. We've got just our normal. I mean, this is pretty impressive. This is like it's like an iPad charger, or some iPhone chargers. Okay. And this is again USB. It's not MagSafe, so not much there in the box, which actually says a lot. Are there stickers? There's probably some Apple stickers in there. All right, let's take a look at this machine here. So I'm taking it out. I think it's interesting that they stopped doing, I think at one point they had plastic, and now this feels like wax paper that they're doing. I guess they're trying to be more environmentally conscious, which, I'm totally cool with. One thing I didn't pre-order is a case. Maybe I should have pre-ordered one of those for this. All right, so I've got the paper here. So this, I won't say is the lightest computer in the world. I think actually a MacBook Air is lighter, but it's a good size. Again, we've got the 2 USB ports. One of these is for power, the other one's for data. You can only plug them into one. It's got a headphone jack, and then this is a speaker, so it's got a speaker on each side. Let's turn the thing on. All right, I think we got this set up. Let's see what we got here. The paper there, of course. There goes the thing. Okay. Booting up for the first time. It's a pretty nice looking screen. Again, if we take a look at the keyboard, this is where the Touch ID would be if it were the higher end model. Oh, look at that. It's got a fancy purple screen that says "Hola." We'll take through the setup here. I won't drag you all through the entire setup. It takes a while, but see if there's anything interesting that's new here. I don't know if they had a custom install thing, but I kind of like the feel, again, of the screen, of kind of that groovy vibe. Again, I think this is something they're going to be targeting at students with a lower price point, which again, I think is super, super smart. So one thing I haven't seen in quite some time, at least in the machines I've got, is a white keyboard. Again, is I think a minor thing. I'm afraid to get it dirty, but here also the trackpad. The trackpad is a physical push trackpad, whereas the newer ones they give haptic touch. Okay, it's going to ask for a software update. I'm not going to make y'all sit through that. All right, it's ready. Check that out. Oh, and here are specs. We got this Apple A18 Pro, 8 gigs of memory, and of course, Mac OS Tahoe. We knew that pawn. Let's take a look at the system. So this battery is supposed to last 16 hours. I think I read that it actually lasts about 13 or 14, which is totally fine. Let's see how these speakers are. I'm just going to pick up the... Sounds pretty good. I should probably play something that's not as 8-bit. All right, we can check out these speakers. Got a bird in the background. I mean, it's not a Sonos surround system, but it's decent enough. It's okay. I think the main thing that we're really going to be focused on for a coach is going to be, can it run Zoom? Can it run your Google Docs? Can it run your AI, like your Claude or your Coach Skills AI or whatever it is? So we're going to get those installed, and we're going to give them a test. So one important feature we're going to want to look at is here, again, we've got the 2 USB ports. One of these is going to be used by the charger. So you really are only going to have one that's going to be free. However, what you can do is you can get one of these USB hubs, which we'll demonstrate in just a little bit. And it can be a port replicator for you, so you can have as many Ethernets or whatever you need. Okay, so I am serving at a virtual event, and what we're going to do is see how we can take the MacBook Neo right here and get it on that TV. So it's going to take a little bit. So the first thing is, the MacBook Neo only has 2 USB ports, and this is not the standard port that we would need to connect to the TV like an HDMI cable. Now, we could do it with AirPlay if you know how to do that, and that should work extremely well. But I wanted to use an HDMI cable since a lot of people prefer to have the wired connection or don't necessarily have a TV that supports AirPlay. So let's see what we can do. So I got a couple adapters from 2 pretty decent, well-known companies. One is Ugreen, USB-C multi-function hub, and the other is a great company called Anker, which has their, I don't know what this one is called, Anker Power Expand 6-in-1 USB-C PD Ethernet, a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's see what we got. So there's always been this hate about dongles for Macs, and here's the thing, because they tried to make them really, really skinny and really thin and take away all the ports, and so they usually only have a couple of USB ports now, unless you get the Super Pro models. But these actually aren't that bad, because here's the truth. If you're a coach, likely you're using this at your desktop, which is fine. You can just like have a dock or one of these sitting there, or you're using it on the run, which you're probably not using a whole lot of the ports anyway. But let's take a look at these 2 different kinds of dongles we got. First, let's look at this Ugreen. So this is pretty good. On this side, it's got 3 USB-A, typically a USB-A 3.0, which means it's faster, are colored blue. These are not, so I'll have to look at the specs just to double check. On the other side, it's got our HDMI, which we'll use to connect to the TV. And then it's got a single USB-C port, which will be able to have another USB pass-through device or power possibly. And then on the end, we've got the Ethernet. I know a lot of people don't really need Ethernet, but if you're at home and you're going to be wired anyway, or you're going to be like attached to your desk anyway, I kind of like having a wired internet cord just for funsies. Now, if we look at this one, this is the Anker brand one. And so it also has USB It's got one less. It's got the USB-A, so it's got these two here. You can see that blue there. If it's blue, that indicates it's 3.0, so it's faster. And then on the other side, this is where the difference is. We got the HDMI, but we have two USB-Cs, one specifically for power and one for data. So when we use this, and why I'm kind of leaning towards using this one instead, simply because with one port, we can do power and data and in our display. So it'll actually give us an additional port, which when you've only got two USB ports on your machine, so we got our USB cable, just like normal on any modern TV. And we just have to note which port that it's on and then turn on the TV, and we'll do that right now. Okay, so I've got the anchor. I'm gonna plug in our HDMI here. And then we're gonna plug it into the computer. So let's go ahead and remove the power. And I'm gonna plug in the power cord here. Oops. Sorry, you guys can't see this very well, trying to do it with one hand. So we got the power delivery. I'm not doing well here. There we go. All right, so you can see the power's on, it's connected, that's great. And then we got the two ports on the back. I believe only one of these ports can be used for display, and I think it's not. Well, let me do the one I think it is first. So it's there, and now, all right, we heard it. It says allow accessory to connect. We got this hub. I'm gonna say yes. And then actually, if you see that, look, it's already saying, do you want to show it on Sony TV? So I'm gonna say start mirroring. We'll just mirror it, that's fine. Now, I need to change the input on my TV. Oh, it was number 2. And it detects it, but it's not, oh, there we go. All right, so, all right, I do want to test this to see if this will actually work on the other port, which I think it will not, but let's find out here. So it does power it. But as you can see, it's not showing that other screen there. So actually look at that. It says use other port for display. To use an external display, connect the other USB port on this Mac. So that's great that it actually will tell you if you've plugged it into the wrong port. So I've got the different programs on here, and I've got them set up, and let's take a look at how many resources they're taking to see, is this whole 8 gig of RAM not being enough gonna be okay for a coach? Let's check it out. All right, so we've got Zoom running right now on the TV. We've got Slack running right now. You can see that. We've got the Telegram running in here. We've got Zoom, of course, but let's take a look. Let's talk about resources. So we've got like Zoom and Telegram and Slack all working. And let's take a look at this. So it looks like it's using only about 8% of the system. It's working pretty well. I haven't noticed any slowdowns yet, but I'll check it out over the weekend. Looking at the memory, now this is where some people might have the concern where we've got, okay, well, we only have 8 gigs of RAM. But as you can see right now, at least, we're not doing anything like intensive. We're only using 6 gigs of RAM. And we got several programs running. Now, obviously, if you got something intensive happening, it's gonna jump up, it's gonna have to use the cache file, but it's actually okay at the moment. So what's the real test? Use it this weekend, run the event, see what happens, and if I wanna throw it out the window at the end, I'll let you know. Or what I think, my theory, is that it's gonna work pretty well for any coach or anyone who's using this for like some sort of virtual event. Okay, so now I've been using this MacBook Neo for 3 days at a virtual event, which, and just for daily kind of stuff, things like making documents, email, web surfing. And so the big question comes down to, is the MacBook Neo a great laptop for coaches? And I have to say the answer 100% is yes. And let me tell you why. Everything on it works great for what a coach would typically need. If you're getting on Zoom, even with a external display like a TV, yes. Can you get on the internet just fine? Yeah. Is it small enough, thin enough that you can utilize it? Yes. Some of the limitations of it, of course, are just there's going to be 2 ports. But for most people, if you're going to be using it at your desktop, you can get a dock. You can get the dongle like I showed you. If you need to have more than 2 monitors connected, this isn't the laptop for you. But most coaches don't do that, right? They might have 1 TV or 1 external monitor connected to it. Heavy video editing. Most coaches I know, you don't need to do that. So when you read these things where people are like, oh, it's only got 8 gigs of RAM, or there's only 2 ports, or, you know, there's only this or that. Are you really gonna need that? So if you're someone who's interested in trying out a Mac, it's $600, $599. It's a pretty good entry-level machine, especially if you have an iPhone already. You're gonna pick it up pretty quick because so many of the settings are gonna be exactly the same. And so it's an easy ecosystem. When you learn, you can just send things back and forth from your phone to your computer. It's pretty good. Also, even though I got the plain silver one, of course, we've got the fun colors in it, so you can totally get those. Something a little bit more your style. Of course, you can get the covers and accessories and all the things like that. One thing I might say is that if you want some more convenience, get the $699 version, just because it'll have the fingerprint thing here instead of just the lock button. And to tell you the truth, that is a pretty convenient thing to have, the Touch ID. And it has a little bit more storage in there as well. Although most people, I think, keep their stuff on the cloud nowadays too. So overall, super laptop for coaches. So if you want to follow more or hear more about cool stuff for coaches, you can just follow, I mean, however the heck you're watching to this, follow, subscribe, like, I don't know, send up a smoke signal, and you'll learn more about cool stuff for coaches. See ya.